Hey there, and welcome to the first episode of the 2014 season of Inside Butler Football. I'm your host, JoJo Gentry. Today, we'll have Coach Forrest talking about the Butler football team's preseason, the first season opener victory against Wittenberg, as well as next week's game against Youngstown State. Stay with us on Inside Butler Football. First of all, congrats on winning this year's season opener against Wittenberg.
Thank you very much.
Now let's talk about preseason because Butler is coming off 2 consecutive PFL championships. So talk about the goals that were established during spring ball and preseason.
Well, I think the biggest thing you got to understand is every year is different. Every team is different, and I think you start out with, what's your core values, what do you believe in, and, go back to work to establish that team concept, that camaraderie, that trust, and figure out who's the guys that are going to be in what positions and able to make the plays, on Saturday afternoons. So we kind of, camp was camp, and just kind of how we've done it forever. And we had a lot of competition because we had a lot of new guys that hadn't played or, were competing for a little different role than they've had in the past. So it was exciting. It was fun. A lot of hard work and effort. We had a really good camp, I can tell you that.
And you guys were at camp for about a week in August. Talk about what you accomplished during that time.
I think that's the biggest thing. Can you come together as a team? It's, your focus is football. There's no school at that point. There's no jobs. Guys are together and they're practicing and they're lifting and they're running and they're doing those things together, and they're sitting in meeting rooms, and you're trying to build a chemistry, a camaraderie, a trust with the guy next to you that, when things get tough on Saturday afternoons, they're going to be able to rely on you and make the play when the plays needed to be made. So I think we made a lot of strides. I think we got better every day. I think we showed up with a great attitude and worked hard and, had some fun along the way.
And what are you seeing in that chemistry this year?
Well, I think it's really early, and, Saturday night was the first time to see them, really play football. You don't get those kind of conditions in practice. It's hard to, really play the game. You're not tackling the way you have to in the game. You're not playing for 60 minutes. You're not continually going on and off the field and in game-like situations. So Saturday night, was that first opportunity, because we don't get a scrimmage or a jamboree or any of these things like you get in high school or the NFL, where you get preseason games that don't count. You show up on Saturday, the first week of the season, and it counts as a win or a loss. And so I think we did a great job Saturday night, coming out with a win.
And Butler graduated 15 starters last season due to graduation. So talk about how you're motivating these younger players to step up and mature.
I think a lot of that is internal. They've been here and playing and doing all the things those other, 15, you say 15 starters, 22 seniors that all had key roles in, 2, really, really good seasons. And so I think the younger guys now see a little light at the end of the tunnel. My opportunity, and with that comes, a lot more responsibility as your job changes and your leadership element on the team changes. There's a lot that goes with it, but I think just the opportunity to see themselves moving up the depth chart and getting a chance to either get on the bus or get in the game or play more of a starting role. There's a lot of motivation there that it comes just from opportunity.
And Butler was picked 4th in this year's PFL preseason poll. What does that say to you and your team?
I don't put a whole lot into those preseason polls. I think people look at who's coming back and, how they did last year and pick a number. I think you'll find out a lot more as you go through the preseason on just kind of how the league returns. But, you don't really worry about that till you get to PFL time in a couple weeks.
Now let's shift from preseason to this past weekend.
Okay.
You guys won 22-16 against Wittenberg, a team that went into the second round of the Division III NCAA tournament last year. So was this outcome expected?
I don't think you ever expect, the outcome. I think the key thing is you got to go in and prepare. You have to truly have a belief that it's a nameless, faceless opponent. I mean, you can't prepare one way based on who you think you're playing. I mean, preparation's the key that's going to allow you to compete and play hard. So we knew going in that they were very talented, that they were going to be well coached. They had some key returning players. So we knew the challenge we were in for. So the expectation for us is to play the best of our ability, provide our best effort, play for the guy next to you. Those are the things that you expect. You expect that you've prepared to give your best effort, and you expect that you're going to play hard for the guy next to you. We never expect anything about, wins or losses or score. I mean, if you do things right during the week, the score takes care of itself.
The score at halftime was 2-0. The Dogs were up. Then the Dogs responded by scoring 20 points in the third quarter. Talk about the adjustments that were made at the half.
I think the biggest thing at the half is we got a chance to regroup together and take a deep breath. And just, we had a lot of guys, offense, defense, and special teams that were playing for the first time. And just to take that deep breath and just kind of start over a little bit. They've now been out there. They know the speed of the game. They've had the experience. And we just had to polish a couple things up. I don't think we dramatically changed what we were doing. We, called a couple different plays. And, probably the number one thing is we'd calmed down a little bit and executed a little bit better there in the third quarter. And then, naturally you got to finish. I mean, over 60 minutes, there's going to be ebbs and flows, and you got to be locked in on every play.
So you were talking about players who were getting the opportunity to play for the first time in varsity action.
Sure.
We have senior quarterback Matt Schultz and freshman running back Matt Schrader. Talk about what you learned from these guys in this live game.
Well, I think the big thing is that I think they learn a little bit about themselves and about their teammates, that they really are, good football players, that their preparation is going to provide them opportunities to compete. We got all the confidence in the world and all the guys that are going out there and competing. We think we have a good football team. We think we have a football team that's going to get better as they get more experience and move forward. But we saw a lot of positive things from guys that played their first collegiate action, as well as the returning veteran. I mean, I think that was the big thing, is we went on the road into a place that's hard to win, that not too many people win. We had a lot of coaches that have played over there, competed over there, and never won in that stadium. So we went on the road and won in a place that's hard to win. And we took 27 guys on the trip that had never even been on a trip, let alone played in a college football game. And the key, I think, was the senior leadership, the veteran leadership, the guys that had been on trips, the guys that had played critical moments before, that our trip was very smooth because we got a bunch of guys that understand that it's not about them. It's about the team, and it's about the guy next to you. So the leadership was outstanding as far as getting guys from, just the little detail when you show up at the meal to, some play in the third quarter. So not only did the young guys step up and play well and compete, but I think the leadership provided by the guys that had played before was critical to Saturday night.
On the defensive end, you said the guys controlled the line of scrimmage for most of the game, getting 18 TFLs and 10 sacks, mostly from defensive linemen Brett Shannon, Nick McAnally, and Glenn Summers. How comforting was it to see this veteran group take control of the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the heart and soul of our defense. That's where our veteran players are located. I'm really on both sides of the ball, offense and defensive line. There's some key guys back that have, battled in the trenches for a long time, and that's where you got to hang your hat. And they came out and played. They did a great job. They did their job, which allowed them to make plays, because someone else was in the right spot at the right time and fit in the right gap, and they were winning their individual battles, and that was the key going into the game. Is you had to stop the run and make them one-dimensional and control the line of scrimmage, and across the board, I thought those guys really did an outstanding job.
So Butler plays Youngstown State next Saturday, which will be the second game in a row that they're on the road. Talk about how the team will need to prepare and what they need to do at practice this week.
Well, I mean, every year from week 1 to week 2 is when you make your most improvement as a team. You've gone through it once. You play. You got a much better idea of what can I do better in preparation. How can I make Tuesday more game-like, and how can I get in the moment and not let opportunities to get better slip by. So, and then it ratchets up when you go travel to play in the Missouri Valley team. You better be at your best, or it can be a long day. There's no question about that. So, I think our guys, their attention will be there. I think the second time through a game week, their focus and their ability to get in the moment and the attitude they bring each play in practice will be a little bit differently. And then when just being familiar with those 27 guys now are not on their first trip anymore. So everything kind of calms down a little bit. You feel a little bit more relaxed. You know your routine and what I need to do to balance my academics and the football week, and how can I take care of the body and get my rest and do you get a better idea. So you make your biggest jump, and we need to make our biggest jump this week because it's arguably one of the better teams on our schedule.
You said the biggest improvements are made between week 1 and week 2. Talk about how you would like to see the team improve this week.
Well, I think that first and foremost, we have to come out and control your controllables early. All right, come out, play with some consistency and some effort on both sides of the ball early on in the game. Show up and get into the ball game quickly. I think the biggest thing then from that point on is can you have the mentality to play the play for 60 minutes? It's hard to do. And I thought we responded well last week to some adversity and when things went bad. I think we can do a better job of playing complementary football. We had some takeaways that we didn't capitalize on, or we had some opportunities where one unit provided an opportunity for the other side of the ball that sometimes we're really good at that. We got on a roll, and other times we passed opportunities by. So, there's a lot of things to clean up, but with this group, I'm excited to move forward because there's a want to and there's a mentality that I want to be a little better today than I was yesterday. So we're looking forward to moving forward.
Butler will play the Penguins in their home opener in a stadium twice the size as the Butler Bowl. Talk about how the team needs to mentally prepare for this kind of atmosphere.
I mean, I think you go into it like it's any other game. I mean, you got to prepare. They're going to be fast and physical and running. It's going to be loud and exciting. But that's why our guys chose to come to Butler to play in games like this. Our guys had opportunities to go a lot of different places, and they chose Butler for a lot of different reasons. And one of them is to, these type of games when you can go travel and play in a Missouri Valley team is exciting for them. I mean, our guys will be ready, but our guys will understand that the preparation's no different. The game's no different. Your opponent's different. So you better have studied up. You better be ready to play fast. You better have your body ready for a physical contest and go have some fun. I mean, it's college football.
Coach Forrest, thanks so much for being with me in the studio today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching Inside Butler Football. I'm JoJo Gentry. Have a great week, Bulldog fans.